Hello, everybody. Welcome to another installment of a Career Chat. I'm Mary Ellen. I'm going to be your tour guide today, and we are off to Rehabilitation Services to interview a physical therapist. Alicia Drogo is amazing, and she was my physical therapist, and she has agreed to this interview today. So thank you ahead of time, Alicia. We are on our way to you now. Hello, everybody. Good job putting your pants on and making it back to Rehabilitation Services in South Deerfield. Today, I have the awesome job of interviewing Alicia Drogo, who is a physical therapist, and a pretty damn good one at that. Here she is.
Hello.
Thank you for joining me, Alicia.
Absolutely.
If you could just tell the camera and all of your fans a little bit about where you went to school, the degrees you hold, and how one basically becomes a PT. In doing my research, I noticed that there's different levels. There's PT1, PT2, up to PT5. Is that right?
As far as levels, it usually differs depending on who you work for. So for Cooley Dickinson, there's PT1, PT2. But one of my grad school friends, where she works, it goes up to PT3. So that just is really different depending on where one works. But I went to college. I went to Utica College in Central New York, where I got my doctorate of physical therapy. And before that, I had a bachelor's of science from SUNY Cortland. And recently, about a year and a half ago, I got my clinical specialty in orthopedics. So I'm now a clinical specialist, which is pretty exciting.
That is very cool.
Yeah.
Was that a difficult process?
Yes. So to get a clinical specialty, you have to have a certain number of years of practice under your belt. And you have to take another examination, which is very similar to the boards, but it is very specific in the specialty that you want to get certified in. So me working in outpatient PT, I got my orthopedic specialty, which is very specific on musculoskeletal injuries, surgeries, things of that nature.
Cool. Thank you. So thinking back to your decision to even become a physical therapist, can you just kind of walk us through why you decided to go into PT and touch on, any aha moments you might have had or any internships that kind of led you to this being your career path?
Absolutely. So I always knew that I wanted to be in the medical field, but I actually wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I knew I didn't want to be a medical doctor necessarily because they could sometimes have odd hours, be called in on short notice. And I know I didn't really want to go the nursing route because I wasn't super interested in needles and catheters and that aspect of it. So I spoke with my advisor in school, and she set me on the path of, okay, it's okay not to know exactly what you want to do, but you want to be in the medical field. So she got me worked up with a really great base of sciences, and I had a concentration in allied health. So that got me the chemistries, the biologies. And so when I graduated, I had a great base of school, the Bachelor's of Science, which really set me up to do well to get into school for physical therapy. As far as how I figured out I want to do physical therapy, we did an externship. So my Allied Health and my Bachelor's of Science program required us to do an externship my senior year. And I figured, since I wanted to be in the medical profession, that I would apply for a position at our local hospital in Cortland. And they put me in the rehab department, and it was there that I actually saw what they did every single day, these physical therapists and occupational therapists, where I realized, wow, this is everything that I want in a job that I didn't realize existed. So essentially, I like to have a set of rules and a baseline of standards to follow, but I also like things to be creative. And so with PT, you have a certain standardized set of rules you have to follow for people who are healing from injuries and surgeries. However, somebody might want to get back to being able to throw a ball with their son, or somebody may just want to, be able to go fishing or go hunting, something like that. So you have to constantly, vary your practice and look at the patient's goals, So things can be very interesting, especially working with one patient on a shoulder, with one patient on a knee, with one patient on a foot. So things are changing every day, which is very exciting. I knew I didn't want a desk job. So, having a job that I'm up, I'm moving, things are changing. It was very exciting to me, and I found myself looking forward to going into my externship every day. And I said, wow, this is what I want to do.
That's a cool story.
Yeah.
Thank you. You made it sound easy. Did you face any roadblocks or challenges along the way, or any moments where you thought, I'm not sure?
Well, yeah, absolutely. So getting into school for physical therapy is highly competitive. So I was very nervous that, I wouldn't even get in the first place. But again, luckily, having some sort of idea and having my advisor help me get a strong base of classes in the allied health concentration really helped set me apart as far as getting into PT school. So that was very helpful. And also, one of the things I did, which I think really helped, is for Utica College, I actually called and set up a meeting so I could meet face-to-face, because I was going back and forth on email with its admissions director, and I just wasn't getting the answers that I wanted. So finally we met face-to-face, and that was basically it ended up being almost my school interview, where I was able to show that I was really serious about this program and ask all my questions, and after that, they accepted me into their program, actually. So that was great. I would say another hurdle is student loans, which is probably a hurdle for everybody. And, worrying about, is this something that I want to potentially tack on, $90,000 onto, debt that you already have from getting a bachelor's degree. And so that was, concerning, but I realized in the end, for me, I would rather have gone into some debt in order to get a career where I can propel myself forward, than to stay at home and maybe work a different job that I didn't even like doing. But also there is something called the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Act, which, because I work for a hospital, my employer allows me to be eligible for this public service loan forgiveness, which that is life-changing, and that if I pay my loans for 10 years on time, they will forgive whatever is left over. And I think that has really helped in knowing that there is an end date, and it's not going to be when I'm 90. And so if you really look into things, then it can be doable and it can be manageable.
That's awesome. Could you describe a typical day?
Absolutely. So I'm lucky where I work for a company where they allow us to work one-on-one with our patients. So that also varies site to site, and some outpatient therapists will work with 2 or 3 people at a time. But here at Cooley, they really let us work one-on-one with our patients so we can really give them the best treatment possible, which is excellent. So my typical day is I come in and I have patients scheduled every 45 minutes, and so I'll see 5 patients right in a row until lunch. I get a half hour for lunch, half hour for documentation, and then I see 5 patients in a row to end my day. And every day can be different depending on, I may have a day where I have all treatments, or I may have a day that I have 1 to 3 evaluations of new patients coming in.
And what would you say is the absolute best part of your job?
The absolute best part of my job is working with people and seeing the improvements that you've made, helping them reach their goals. Again, having somebody come in and say, biking was what really was my passion in life, and I just want to get back to biking again, or I just want to get back to being able to, lift my son up above my head. Working with people to seeing how appreciative they are, that we're their cheerleaders and we help guide them to reaching their goals, is one of the best feelings. And it's not just me. If you even look it up online, careers that are the top most satisfying, PT is physical therapy is always in the top 10 most satisfying careers. And I'm definitely one of I wouldn't say one of the only, but it's rare when you can ask somebody if they like their job and they say, yeah, I love it. And out of my group of friends, I know that I'm one of the few that can say that, and I've been in this field since 2012, so I don't regret it for a day.
That sounds very rewarding, and I hope that people who are listening, are really appreciating that finding your passion and finding a job that you love can be super rewarding.
Absolutely.
Leads me to my next question. Is there any aspect of your position that you find less rewarding?
Yeah, with any job, there's going to be, those grr moments that you just, want to snap a pencil or take a day off. I would say, I think I always say that one of the toughest things about the job is keeping up with the paperwork sometimes, because that can get pretty overwhelming when, again, you don't really have a lot of breaks between patients, and you do really have to document everything for a medical record and to make sure everything's accurate. And then also, being a physical therapist, you can feel a little burnt out sometimes, because you do spend a lot of, when you really care and you're really helping people, sometimes it can take a little bit of emotional energy, but those days are few and far between, but they do come. But otherwise, it's a pretty great deal.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Besides wearing face masks, washing hands, just wondering how, if at all, the pandemic has influenced your work, after kind of the initial phase of it.
Yeah, so initially when the pandemic happened, my work here in outpatient really decreased. We were only seeing people after surgery, so I was only working like a day and a half here in outpatient. As far as, the treatments, that didn't really change as much. What I do think we're going to see, though, is now in the future, in the next few months, or even, sooner than that, I think we're going to see a lot of people coming in with these secondary impairments from having COVID-19 in the first place. So they're going to come in being deconditioned, very weak from being in the hospital. There is a specialty. Some physical therapists have their cardiology specialty, so there might be more patients going in to get their cardiovascular system stronger. So I do think that we're probably going to get even busier just seeing all these patients who are in the hospital for so long.
Thank you. What advice would you give to someone who is considering going into this career?
I would definitely say to, again, load up on your sciences. If you're, some places have a 6-year program where you can go right in, and if you know you're going to go straight through into physical therapy, they'll set you up for that course. If you're still not so sure, but you like the medical field, like how I knew, it made such a difference to have all of those sciences in my background. And again, if you think you're going down that path, it is very competitive, so really trying to stay on top of your GPA and your grades, it does make a difference when applying for grad schools. So that was something that was helpful for me getting into school as well.
Okay, final question. For anything you would like to add to any viewers?
Yeah, so physical therapy is, I get super excited about it when people ask me about my job, because I just really enjoy it and I love doing it. And it's something that, if I were to move anywhere in the United States, I would be able to find a job. This is a growing profession, it's a growing career, so it's something that you're going to have that comfort and that stability with. Anywhere you go, they're going to be hiring physical therapists, and that's whether it's in a school, in a hospital, you can do home care, you can do outpatient PT, like I do here, but I don't have to have the worry of, oh my gosh, am I going to lose my job, or if we move, am I going to have to, struggle and not be able to find a job? That's something that's very comforting, to know that it's such a growing field, and I think also such a respected field.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So, once again, this is Mary Ellen here with Alicia, and I would just like to publicly, for anyone that's watching, thank Alicia for being the best physical therapist I've ever had personally, and someone that I would absolutely call a friend. So she rocks, and thanks to her, I can move my arm again. Thanks, everybody.